Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Greg Dybeck.
I'm Joe Santagato, and for those who are just listening, we are now fully available on YouTube. You can go watch the show at youtube.com/Other People's Lives, so go subscribe there if you'd like to watch it.
Yeah, and we actually have our guest on the line right now. So why don't you tell the listeners what we're going to be speaking about today?
Well, I am a slave in a master-slave relationship.
Okay. In a master-slave relationship, I feel like we've covered a lot of topics sort of like this in a way, but I don't think we've ever like touched on this exactly. So I'm kind of wondering if you could kind of define what a slave in a master-slave relationship is and like what your duties are, I guess.
So, I mean, it's, me and my boyfriend, he controls me, he, owns me, I'm his property, and a slave basically follows whatever he wants me to do, so whether that's waking him up every morning with a blowjob or getting on my knees and walking around the house like that or cooking him food. It can kind of encompass anything and everything he wants me to do. So it's basically just following orders and enjoying it.
Well, we're off to a hot start
Super
this
hot.
episode. Okay, so it's literally property. Like you consider yourself his property.
Yes. So he, at the beginning of our relationship, he had gotten me a collar. So I wear a collar every day at school with my family, no matter where I am, to mark the symbolism of me being owned by him.
Is this like a necklace or like a dog collar?
Yeah.
So it is more of like it looks kind of like a choker necklace.
I was going to say, has anyone ever asked me like, oh, what is that? Or does it look like, an accessory?
I mean, I feel like for people who don't know much about it, yes, they just think it's an accessory, a necklace or whatnot. But for people who kind of know a bit, the younger kind of people, I definitely get asked, oh, is that a collar? Or, oh, I like your collar. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, I mean, they get it.
Okay. I was picturing like one of the dog collars that's like, if lost, return to master, which I guess in this case would make sense.
I'm not even like trying to be funny. This is a serious question. Is there like a loop that he like could put a leash on and like walk you around?
So this particular one does not have that, but he's kind of had me, like, we've sat down together and kind of made a kind of list of different ones we want to get, different designs and whatnot. So that will be one that I do get one day.
So your boyfriend slash master, I'm so curious about how a relationship like this begins. I've been out of the dating game for a while, but from what I recall, like it's awkward even proposing sex for the first time sometimes, kissing someone for the first time, like if you're not sure. Like how do you say to someone, "Oh, by the way, like if we date, you kind of have to be my slave and do anything that I want"?
So we didn't meet on Tinder. We were both just kind of looking for people because, I mean, the basis of our relationship is still love. We started off as just kind of, I guess, a normal couple. We made a really good connection. And after we first met and we're learning more stuff about each other, um, basically it kind of came up because I do find myself to be naturally more submissive as a person, and he kind of picked up on that very quickly, and it just kind of got brought up, and he had very kind of little experience before me in terms of kind of exploring that aspect of himself. So it's almost been like a learning experience for the both of us for kind of trying new things. And it started off really slow. I mean, he would ask me to do certain things. Like there's still certain things now that I, am kind of uncomfortable with. And I'm like, maybe one day I will, try to do something like that. But
Like what?
um well, he does have a kind of weird, well, I don't want to say weird, that'd be insulting, but a kind of obsession with like me playing with his cum. So he's had a fascination with me having him come on like food before I eat it, or like saving it up and having me drink it. And that's still something that I'm kind of, you know, on and off about, maybe one day. But yeah, that's one of the things that have kind of been like a iffy thing for me.
Yeah,
But he's very understanding, and we take things kind of day by day.
Well, that's good. But
Yeah.
I can see how that's
Yeah, you gotta warm
on
up
the
to that.
aggressive side.
you got to warm up to that for
But
sure.
to be honest, like if you're a guy listening to this, like I feel like you'd be lying if you didn't say that's like kind of in your realm of fantasies,
Well, I think it's just a pure
like domination.
dominant thing.
Yeah.
To see how far you can push it. I mean, I think that at some point, where you guys are, I mean, it seems like you're in the middle of finding out like what the boundaries are, and like in order to do that, you got to kind of push the envelope and see how far it can go,
Mm-hmm.
And there is
Exactly.
consent, it seems like, because that was one of my questions. Are you like consenting to no consent, or is like you're obviously able to what that
Is that possible?
consenting to no consent?
I guess.
Well, I guess what I mean is like if you enter this relationship, is it like I will do anything
Right.
my master says, or are there things that can push the boundaries and you kind of talk it out or work your way up to it, which it seems like is the case.
Exactly. I mean, at the beginning, that was one of the things I was really nervous about, because especially kind of being new to this sort of relationship, I was worried that, I would be forced to
Mhm.
do things even if I didn't want to. And I mean, he made it clear very quickly that, I mean, the only way he gets satisfaction is if I'm enjoying myself. So if he asks me to, you know, suck his dick and I'm just not feeling it and I'm just kind of doing it for the hell of doing it, he doesn't get satisfaction from that. He wants to see me enjoying myself and, putting in the effort that shows that I care, rather than just being kind of a mindless slave that will do anything he wants. He still wants me to be my own person.
Would you say that, like, what percentage, if not all of them, are like of your sexual encounters are like this? Like, are there ways that it's like, oh, this is usually how for lack of a better word, a regular couple would have sex or whatever, or is it always something dominant in this way, or do you guys kind of like flip flop back and forth?
I mean, like I've dated a lot of people before, my boyfriend now, and I mean, it's more of a fact of, when we're actually, having sex, it's more him doing a lot more of the work. But basically everything else, it's me doing a lot more of the work. So it's all kind of based on reward in our relationship. So, if I'm being really handsy with him all day and sucking his cock and, jerking him off and whatnot, I get rewarded by being fucked.
Oh,
So
I see.
it's, yeah, kind of a thing for me to want to do more what he wants me to do in order to get rewarded in the way that I want to get rewarded.
So everyone wins.
It's checks
and
Not
balances.
just the master, but
Yeah.
no, like the respect in these types of relationships, it fascinates me. Like when you look at cultures of like dominant and submissive, BDSM, even this master slave relationship, like I know people who are in regular relationships that treat people like possessions, and they're just shitty. They're just shitty to
Yeah.
their significant other. And these relationships where you're literally using the terms master slave, it seems like there's still so much mutual respect, consent, understanding, even like more so than I guess what you would call like a quote unquote normal relationship sometimes. Not all the time,
Yeah,
but like I've seen some pretty bad relationships.
Oh yeah.
And this one seems
exactly.
like the communication's on point.
Yeah, and that was something that really attracted me to him at the beginning was how open we were able to be and how good our communication was that, he could pick up immediately if something was wrong or if something was bothering me and right away stop everything,
Mhm.
talk to me, tell me what you're thinking, let's fix this. Because I mean every relationship like this is going to be different, just like any relationship would be. Um, so it's really important to just kind of talk and learn the boundaries. And I mean, experimenting is the big thing. Is
Mhm.
trying something, seeing if you like it, and going from there. Because yeah, a lot of the things that I do now, I'm sure you know, uh, if I look back on the beginning of our relationship, I would have never even thought of doing.
Hmm.
And it's something he reflects on a lot as well, that, he'll be like, wow, I can't believe at the beginning, everything was kind of so innocent and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
And
do you have
And
like
then
examples
yeah, and
of
then there's
that?
before you know it, there's like cum in the lasagna.
Yeah, right.
That's great. That's
As a
wild.
salad dressing.
Yeah.
But so do you have examples of that? Because I kind of want to understand like what the day to day or week to week is like. So I guess from the beginning of the relationship, what are some of the requests to current relationship?
Yeah, like
What
the
are you doing?
levels. Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, if it was more like there's less foreplay and more just demanding certain things, and but like so what was that?
so at the beginning, I mean, it was a lot of kind of getting me to be more handsy, sucking his cock whenever he asked me to, because it is something, that I do enjoy. So it's not exactly something bad for me. Um, but then it kind of progressed. I do like choking a lot, so it was almost like while I was progressing on my stuff, he was also kind of progressing to incorporate that more into our sex life. And wearing the collar, obviously, in the beginning was a big thing. And then kind of progresses to, yeah, him wanting me to, walk around on my hands and knees or, put my butt in the air and, wiggle my butt for him when I'm excited or wearing like his cum on my face while I go to school or something.
Wait,
Wait,
you've done
whoa,
that?
whoa. Wait, so okay, you just snuck that one
So-
in there.
so
You're
nonchalantly.
not letting that one get by. So wait, so he's come on your face, and then you went to school with it on your face. Does no one ever say anything?
Oh, people would say stuff,
It's
and
that obvious? Well, I guess
I
it
mean,
kind of how do you like you don't like blend it in like a moisturizer.
Okay,
like-
Jesus, Greg.
I just started using a moisturizer.
Wait, so people have been like, "Oh, is that cum?" And you're like, "Yep."
yep, basically.
Wait, no, that conversation's really happened?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I'm in a program right now that it's not very large. So I'm kind of with the same people every day, so we're all relatively close, and a lot of them know already that I'm in like a master slave relationship because I wear my collar all the time. And yeah, it was actually something that really turned him on because,
Well, yeah.
he asked at the beginning, he was like, did anyone notice? And I was like, oh yeah. He's like, well, what did you say to them? I said, well, I told them that it was your cum on my face. And he was like, are you kidding me? Really? And I was like, yeah.
Wow.
You just
So
owned it. That's amazing.
This is a fucking ride or die right here.
I'm also trying to imagine if I had a friend in my life who it's like,
Would just show up.
now
And be
here
like,
comes
"Sup?"
John again with cum all over his
Yeah,
face. It's like,
exactly.
come on, John, you're dripping in the nachos.
Yeah, it's like, dude, Jesus.
well,
Wait,
it
this
dries
is this is
relatively quickly, so it's just more streaky.
so okay. So it kind of looks like. I mean, does it? I'm just trying to like picture.
What's your question?
I'm trying to think of like what that would look like. Is it like? Because obviously it's not fresh. You got to travel to and from school, so there's some time there. So does it just look like dry skin or something?
All right, we're really going in the weeds.
No, because dude, I have to know because I'm thinking of it being like, and oh, you know what? Forget about it. You don't have to answer that because I already got my answer of, someone has like brought it to your attention, like, hey,
It's
what is-
noticeable enough.
yeah, has anyone asked what that is, and then you actually tell them the truth, or you're like, oh no, it's nothing.
Well, like I said, I mean, I basically owned it because I knew that's what my boyfriend would want.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's
Were you-
kind of a give and take kind of thing where, I mean, I'm close with everyone in, around school, so it's not exactly, something where I'm like, oh, these people are gonna think I'm weird or something after. I mean, yeah,
This is the
they
most
get it.
progressive fucking classroom maybe ever.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, no, that's her thing. She's cool.
Oh, cool. 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 It's organic. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Also, you could have lied, but you didn't.
Yeah, you're just like, you're fully
Like
immersed.
to your master, boy. I don't know what to refer to him as, but you could have lied to him and you didn't. Or like you could have lied
Yeah.
that you told people it was his cum, but you actually told people it was his cum.
Exactly. I mean, it's a level of, yeah, just kind of wanting to please. And again, I mean, when you're on a kind of reward basis, there's always kind of thinking of what you're gonna get from it.
So your satisfaction from doing something like that, is it, I guess there's the reward element because some reward is awaiting you, I guess, when you get home. But is it also just like just the act of being submissive or like, and obedient? Is that just where you kind of get pleasure from?
Oh, definitely. I mean, from the beginning, he would always ask me why I would do things for him. And a lot of it is just because, I like pleasing people. Like, I don't know, it's something where, when I see his expressions or, hear his moans when I'm pleasuring him or that, that, I mean, gives me the most satisfaction out of anything.
Is there an element, this might just be like my own psychopathic mind kind of, and I'm like, I get super competitive, but is there like satisfaction in like saying yes to these crazy things? Or like, this is going to be a really weird kind of like analogy, but I've been reading about like,
God.
no, I've been reading a lot about like Navy SEAL training and how I'm basically calling you a Navy SEAL, by the way. And no, just like how resilient you could get to just like, I can do anything that's asked of me. Like, I'll go above and beyond. Like, I feel like I would find satisfaction in that. Like, no request is too crazy. Like, I'm going to eventually work my
boundaries.
way up to doing this. Yeah, like pushing your own boundaries.
Yeah.
Or am I
Exactly.
completely off?
No, I mean, it makes sense. I remember from the beginning, one of the things that he tried to take advantage of was that I told him, I said, I will do anything for you. And he really kind of pushed me to my limits with that one. Because I remember him as kind of an experiment, depriving me of, being touched or, fucked or anything for, I think it was almost a week or more.
Hell week.
And because he just wanted to see like how I would react. And what he could do to kind of break me.
Hmm.
And so it was just basically a week of me constantly pleasuring him and doing everything for him. And he could notice that, my spirits were kind of dropping by the end of the week because I
Yeah.
just had nothing to kind of work towards. Um, so he changed that really quickly, to being like, maybe that's not the way to go.
Or he was trying to break you
Um,
down to build you up, which is exactly like Navy
exactly.
SEAL
It is.
training.
It
So
is.
don't
I've heard
laugh
that.
at me, Joe.
I know. I've heard that.
It was a good analogy. Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that you can definitely take pride in where, like I said, I mean, whenever I do something new or that I know that he likes on my own and just seeing his reactions to those things, like it's just pure like satisfaction and pleasure for me to just even see that for him.
Yeah.
Do you know when this sort of started? Because I feel like there are people who are just submissive, but they won't necessarily do the things that you're willing to do. So, what do you think is the difference between people who are just submissive and people who have, get a very, like, a lot of pleasure from serving, for lack of a better word? So, what do you think is the difference there? And when did you kind of figure out, like, oh, I'm not just submissive, I am into this master slave stuff?
Well, like I always knew I was, you know, more submissive, sexually, but um, I remember there was one time, before I started dating this boyfriend that, I was hooking up with this guy from Tinder, and I remember he had like kind of choke slammed me against a wall and was just like fully dominant over me, and I was just like, whoa, like I like this. So that was a kind of big pivotal moment for me to be like, I enjoy, you know, being like dominated. And after I met my current boyfriend and had learned that he was dominant and he wanted a master slave relationship, I was like, I mean, tell me what you want. Like, explain to me more what you want from me. So it was just basically, multiple conversations of, what would be expected of me, what would happen. And I mean, all of it is based out of love. So every time he calls me, like a whore or a slut or something while we're fucking or when we're not, um, it all comes from love for him. It's nothing that is directed towards me in any sort of derogatory or negative way.
Yeah.
It's always, you know, it's always portraying his true feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
Can definitely understand that. Even though you're probably having much different type of sex than I do, I think I can understand that point.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I get, like, because I feel like sometimes, like, during sex, it's, like, very animalistic, and you just get this, like, not a rage, but, like, a fucking, like, I don't even know the word, just,
It's like nonverbal communication when you understand, like, I
Yeah.
can be more dominant here.
Exactly.
Or, yeah.
And some people are just like, let's just take this to fucking 11. And
Have
then-
you ever?
What?
Have you ever dropped, like, a you dirty whore?
I mean, I've been but I don't do that, like, willy-nilly, just do it.
Not every
to
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because some people aren't into that.
Right.
So you don't do that.
You got to
unless,
read
like,
the situation.
Oh, yeah, you got to read the room.
Do you ever catch like heat for this? Like, I know it's your choice, but just I guess in the climate that we're in, you think of something like the Me Too movement. Like, do people kind of misconstrue this as like you being taken advantage of? Maybe like is that something you've had to, maybe talk about with people who are like, think like he shouldn't have so much power in the relationship?
To be completely honest, I mean, not many people even know half the things like I've said today. I don't necessarily flaunt every aspect of our relationship. I mean, anyone who knows us knows that, we love each other and, we're very close and he's very good to me. So yeah, I don't think there's anyone who really thinks that. Um, Mostly because they just don't know the extent of things. Um, and to be completely honest, I mean, it could very well look like that. However, it's a thing of, if you're not experiencing it yourself and, you know, you can't possibly understand kind of what's going on. And I would completely get it if I was, very shy about it or quiet or,
Hmm.
when I have like hickeys or something on my neck, I was kind of trying to hide them or something. But yeah, I mean, I'm very open about everything. So even if someone were to kind of ask that, I mean, it wouldn't take very much for me to, kind of put them in the right place of
Hmm.
what's going on.
Yeah, no, totally.
Because yeah, from the like the outside looking in, like it could look like he does have too much power in the relationship, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, like after talking to you, like it doesn't seem that way at all because you do have boundaries. You do be like, I don't really like that, or I don't whatever. So you do have like control in that situation. And as you said, he doesn't even enjoy anything unless you're into it, and that's a little different. But I also think it's interesting now because even with like the R. Kelly situation where there's those girls there that they're like, oh, they haven't talked to their parents in so long, and they're, you know, allegedly these like sex slaves or whatever. Um, I can see how people would have that thought of being like, oh, this is clearly manipulation and this is
Right.
clearly like whatever. But in this situation, I mean, I don't know what the fuck is going on with R. Kelly. I mean, I don't know what's going on in there. But what I'm saying in this situation, it's very clear that it almost also sounds like in the beginning you said like you kind of brought this out of him. So you, because of being so submissive, kind of turned him into a more dominant person, and you guys are kind of learning like by yourselves. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what it seems. No.
Um, I I mean, at the beginning when we first started to, yeah, date and whatnot, um, he definitely had those aspects in him, but he hadn't really explored them to the extent of what things are now. Because like I said, I mean, he did date other people, but he could never really unleash everything um comfortably with those people. So it's definitely kind of been a learning experience for both of us. I mean, he was always like that before, and interested in all these things. But it just really wasn't until me that he was able to actually try all these things and kind of unleash what was inside him in terms of wanting to be that dominant and, controlling. And
Right.
we continue to change for each other in the better sense of, shaping each other by learning what we like and incorporating that into kind of our everyday life.
Yeah, it's cool to share that with someone where you're just able to learn so much about yourself, I'm sure, at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
This show again, it like makes me believe in soulmates. You just keep talking to
Oh,
people who it's just like, why does this feel like the perfect puzzle pieces fitting together?
I don't know.
So that's really cool to hear. For anyone listening that is maybe on the submissive end, interested in getting into something like this, taking it to the next level of, actually being in a master slave relationship, any kind of like quick advice for them if they're sort of unsure how to maybe communicate those things with a partner or, get to the level that you're at?
I mean, first thing is be open. I mean, make sure you talk about what you want and then also consider what they want and kind of shape what you're going to do. Like if you're with someone who isn't exactly innately dominant, um and you're trying to kind of spice things up a little. It's it's really just being open about what you're wanting in that relationship. Or if you're trying to find someone who's like that, um, just yeah, try and be open and really communicate what you want, because there's many different types of master slave relationships as well. I mean, ours is very special. I believe, we base a lot of things off love, and we still have a lot of kind of normal couple aspects mixed into our relationship. While you can also get a type of master slave relationship where your master is just your master and they won't really want you to do anything but what they tell you to. And if you don't, you get punished. Um, so, yeah, you need to make sure you know what you want and you communicate that. And then take things slow once you find that person. Don't rush into things because you can get scared really quickly, which is something sometimes I had experienced that. And that was when things were kind of like, okay, let's kind of slow down a little bit. You know, try to maybe do that stuff later, or let's kind of take a few steps back and you like this. Let's continue doing this for now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those are the really important things. And then make sure you know the person is the big thing. Because I mean, depending on what you're doing in that kind of relationship, I mean, if you're incorporating choking or, more BDSM kind of, restraints or, whips or paddles or whatnot, I mean, you want to feel safe. You should never put yourself in a position when you're submissive to feel unsafe, because um I mean, you already kind of have the feeling of being smaller than that person.
Mm.
So yeah, you don't want to ever have to feel like, they would hurt you,
Right.
or that you even have the potential to be hurt with them.
Awesome. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just really awesome to hear that, this type of relationship is working so well for you and for your
Thank you.
boyfriend slash master. Yeah, really cool. And we definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing so many details of your relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And I guess when you do end up eating and or drinking, I won't finish the sentence, but you know what I'm going to say. Let us know, I guess. I don't know. We like to keep in touch with guests.
Okay.
Awesome. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, before we get to our final thoughts, we have to get to our lovely sponsors for today. And staying on the topic of sex, we do have Blue Chew, which brings the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So it helps your penis stay as hard as possible, okay? And even if you don't have any problems keeping your penis hard, it can always be better because it's going to improve your experience, okay, and enhance your performance. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in a line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package, okay? This is the greatest stuff in the world. I'm telling you, people that I know who don't even have problems with that love using it because, again, it just enhances your performance, so you might as well try it. And like I said, it comes to your door in a discreet package. You don't have to tell anyone, and there's not going to be any more awkwardness.
And right now, we've got a special deal for OPL listeners. You can visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use the promo code OPL. The only thing you pay is $5 in shipping. That's basically free.
Yeah.
$5 in shipping is nothing. It's worth it. Give it a try. Again, that's BlueChew.com, BLUE Chew.com, promo code OPL. Try it for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and thanks to them for sponsoring the podcast.
Our next sponsor for the show is Buffy, which is something that I use every single night, and they have saved my life because I used to sweat like a pig in the middle of the night for whatever reason. I used to think I had a disease, but it was just because my bedding was way too, it was just keeping all the heat in, okay? And Buffy makes a blanket called the Breeze that regulates temperature, so no more night sweats. You can get cozy without overheating. It's basically like having the other side of the pillow all through the night. It's very nice, and Greg would love it because it's earth-friendly. It uses eucalyptus, which uses 10 times less water than cotton to grow, and its fiber is produced using recyclable, earth-friendly solvents.
Plant-based, baby.
Yeah, he's plant-based, but not with the bedding. So we got to get him in the bedding. They have plant-based.
I need full vegan.
You need to be full vegan, okay? And like I said, they use eucalyptus fabric, and it's good for the earth. So you're kind of also saving the environment while getting a nice sleep.
Yeah, and for $20 off your Buffy comforter, you can visit buffy.co and enter OPL as a promo code. So stop sweating, save the environment, $20 off the Buffy comforter. Visit buffy.co and enter OPL.
What did you just say?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I kind of just asked her to tell us when she eats cum. Don't know why. Don't know why.
It's the start of a new season. Greg's, You know what's so crazy? You always have one question a show where it's like, or not a question, or just like a thing you say, and I'm like, oh my god.
And I tried to stop myself because when she was like, "What did
not
she
gonna
say?"
finish the question.
She said,
She just went on a very nice thing where she was explaining how people can, and you're like, all right, cool. Whenever you drink that cum, let us know.
Yeah, I really brought it back down.
I get what you're saying though. I mean, to be honest, it's a very interesting episode because I mean, those type of things, like the reality of the situation is, those aren't necessarily normal. Now, what does normal mean? I just mean majority of the time people aren't walking out in public with cum on their face,
right.
Whatever. I'm not saying it's abnormal in that regard. People are into what they're into. Who gives a shit? Obviously, we do this show, so it's like we hear about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But I will say that that seems above in food for me.
Crazier than food?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? You're going out in public.
Yeah, that's a little different. I feel like some people, there's it gets in there anyway. So for it to be
right.
with some lasagna is actually even better than it just being it. You know what I mean?
Lasagna.
I don't know why I keep
I
saying
love how he's
lasagna.
baking with it, and not just onto a cracker.
Yeah, no. I'm just in the mood for lasagna right now.
Well,
so.
not anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But no, I know. But I guess that's where just the personal preference comes in. It's like for her to have that on her face in public and walk around and say, "Hey, Sally, yep, it's cum." That's nothing compared to even in the privacy of her own home, I guess, ingesting a saved up amount of. I can't believe we're saying these things.
Yeah. This is getting demonetized immediately.
But oh yeah.
Whatever.
Oh man,
it's
hot
okay.
start on YouTube. No money.
Yeah,
oh, well.
Who cares?
But also, I have to say, it's got to be tough being a master. A little bit, not, but
I don't know. Sounds pretty cool.
If I was a master, for me, I would just try to stay ahead of the curve. What is no other master doing? How do you stay creative?
You
every
were
day?
treating this as a business. You're all right, we got to be the industries we have to be the titans of the industry or pioneer a way. It's I don't know.
Right, you're right, and that's
more,
not fair to do.
I think it's more of just a feeling of wanting to be dominant.
It's kind of what your potentially fetishes are, interests are. So you're right. It's not just making up stuff for the sake of making it up.
Yeah.
You're right. You're very right.
I think that I'm always fascinated by these things because I do think that, like you said, the communication has to be better in a situation like this than I would say a lot of other relationships, because the fact that this isn't a isolated incident, we've talked to enough people on the show to know that people are into quote unquote strange things, right? And everyone is into these choking and whatever, there is little mini acts of violence during sex. So I think that a lot of people might be into it but they're either too shy to talk about it, or
Right.
they feel like they'll be judged, or they feel like whatever. But these people are just very open, and there's like really good communication that they can eventually get to that point where it's like, oh, I think I'll enjoy this, or I think like whatever. But they're not worried about being judged, they're not worried about whatever. So like that to me is very interesting, because I wonder how many more people would be into this and be very like open about
I'm
it.
sure a ton. I'm sure so many people are suppressing that. I would love to see like the divorce rate of like the normal divorce
Yeah.
rate versus the divorce rate of people who like are open about
Slap
a
each other and, like,
fetish or
spit each other,
Yeah,
yeah.
just open lines of communication for what turns them on. I guess we'll never get those stats, but
Yeah, I don't know how we would
It's a
get
good
that.
point. It just, I mean, look, it's a 40-minute phone call. Like every relationship has its own unique problems or issues that arise, I'm sure, but they do just always seem very secure just because of that communication and that like 100% pure honesty.
Did you ever call someone a whore during sex?
In my day, young,
In your day? In your prime?
I'm getting married in 3 weeks. Don't ask me these questions.
I'm not saying it doesn't have to be, we're making it anonymous. It doesn't have to be her.
No, I know. I'm just,
Like in your life.
maybe I went on like a whore calling spree that I don't want to talk about.
well, that's why we do the show, man. Hey,
I've said some things.
you said some stuff.
I wouldn't say that's like my character.
No, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask next. Did you like it?
It really depends on the person. Like it's really feeding off of
The energy.
their energy. And again, like
They have to
if,
really
if
be
you're
into
doing
it.
something that's pleasing that person, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah. I get more of what she was saying, how, he doesn't get any satisfaction of it if he doesn't enjoy it. Some people feel
Exactly.
the opposite way, where they feel like if they're not enjoying it, that gives me enjoyment, And
Yeah.
that is like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, oh, if you're into that, and like, there's just something about, it's not the act of calling someone a whore. It's the act of doing something that I guess is sort of like risque, and it feels like violent in a way, and they enjoy that. That it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think it's not even the act of like the word or whatever. It's doing something that is seen as like violent or dominant, and they enjoy it. It's like that is
Well,
the
yeah,
feeling.
and there's also like it goes both ways. Like for the right partner to bring that out of you,
Yeah.
maybe you enjoy that, and like you're like, whoa, I didn't know I was necessarily capable of that, but like together, we're able to come to that moment, and like that's cool in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't even know how I feel. Like, that's really wild what she said. I was blown away by that, dude.
She's a guest that I'm gonna be thinking about for a long time.
Yeah.
Of just like I'm gonna wake up in the morning like, what is she doing today? What is she doing
Yeah.
right now? What was asked of her today?
Yeah, and also I totally forgot to ask, but when she was talking about putting like her ass in the air and like shaking her ass when she's like excited, like a dog.
Yeah.
So that kind of intersects with
The collar and
the like a dog. We talked to someone who was like a puppy or something.
Yeah.
So that kind of
I guess it's the easiest animal. It's like the domesticated.
it's
man's
the
best
go-to.
friend.
Yeah. You don't want to like a cat and just, she's gonna go hide on top of the fridge or whatever.
Yeah,
the hell,
right.
like,
Step on your laptop while you're working. Like, come on.
can't have that.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like I said, as strange and interesting these are to hear, when you really, really, really do think about it, it's a like unreal level of communication, in my opinion. I know how some people can just write it off as being like, oh no, they're crazy, but I really don't do that. I really just think that it's like an extreme form of communication where eventually you work up to that point where like, oh, I'm into this thing, I'm not afraid to tell you this weird thing or this strange thing that I'm into. And then eventually, like, if they're like, yeah, let's try it, and then it works out, it's like, oh, now you guys are having otherwise what would be like, think about the alternative for these people. It would be like, don't have the conversation because I'm afraid of being judged, and then it's just straight up like regular, like no slapping, no nothing, no whatever.
If you're
sex.
suppressing those and those are needs and desires, then yeah, you're gonna be miserable. Like,
Yeah, you should
that's
never
just a fact.
suppress during sex.
Yeah.
If you need the other person to dress up like a clown, start off with the nose,
Yeah, some
and then
big
get
shoes.
the wig. Work up to this whole outfit, and then eventually you're painting each other's faces, having sex, and you're having a great time. That's what
There
you
you
want in
go.
life. Do never suppress your
And
sex.
that has to, the last thing I'll say is like, once you start there, like once you start behind closed doors in the bedroom and you just reach that level of honesty where you're being honest with a partner, but you're also being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
That has to open so many doors in just like your regular life.
Yeah,
too,
of just being
like,
complete honesty.
This is what I want. I'm going to go. I'm going to take what I want. I'm going to ask for the things that I want. Like I know myself. I know what I need, and I'm going to get it. And that's really positive because a lot of people do not do that.
Yes, and think about just like, what secrets am I like? Not a lot of people are gonna know. Like she said, she doesn't really tell people like, yeah, I like going to school with cum on my face. But if she's willing to do that and like willing to share the secret that she does enjoy that with this guy, what the hell is she gonna hide from him then?
What is and what is she worried that other people are going to judge her for?
Yeah,
you know?
like, yeah,
Not
exactly. There's not much. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh my god, these jeans might be a little too tight, so people are gonna look at me. It's like, bro, I got cum on my face.
Yeah, she's like reached enlightenment.
Exactly. No, it honestly
you know
feels that way.
what?
Like I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it really does feel like a monkish level,
Right.
Of like,
Yeah.
I am just good.
She's like she's
Ultimate
I was about to
confidence.
say the Buddha of cum, but she's more than that. We should stop. We should stop. Oh, I was going to say before, she was like, he wasn't able to like, or I got him to like unleash completely. And my bad joke was going to be like, completely.
Or
But
just
I-
like unleashing completely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I stopped myself.
But then you said it.
Right. Kind of.
Right.
Um,
Hot start to the season.
Yeah. All right, you dirty whores. Follow us on Instagram at OPL Podcast.
Yes.
We've got clips. We've got good stuff. Great community there. We've got Patreon at patreon.com/OPL show. So bonus episodes.
Yeah.
Previous guest, for example, maybe she'll come on for a quick 10-minute conversation when she does finally eat the lasagna.
Yeah. Also, we have a Discord that we have. Sometimes we have guests come in, and if you have a question, you can ask them, and they'll, type it to you in real time.
Yeah, we'll get her in for sure.
Yeah. So go join the Patreon, like he said, patreon.com/OPL show. And go leave a rating and review on iTunes because that always helps out the show as well. And we are back.
Yes, we're back. And if you didn't hear in the beginning, we're on YouTube. So like we're moving right now. You can see us, youtube.com/OPL.
Nope. It's YouTube.
God, this is a new one.
YouTube.com/other people's lives.
I was testing you. Yes.
Yes.
If you want to watch the show, we're here.
Go watch it. Okay. And that is all. See you guys next time.